The first day of school always carries an air of curiosity. New students, new rules, new routines. But this year, Lincoln High had something else new, a young teacher named Ms. Alina Carter. She wasn't just another face in the faculty. She was a woman who carried herself with quiet confidence, a warm but firm tone, and eyes that held more depth than most people realized. From the moment she walked into her classroom, the atmosphere shifted. Some students admired her poise. Others, especially the notorious troublemakers, saw her as an easy target. She was young, not much older than some of the seniors, and in their eyes that meant weak. And trouble wasn't far behind. Among the students sat Jake, the ringleader of a group of bullies who had terrorized teachers for years. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and thrived on fear. His friends, Kyle and Brad, followed his lead like shadows. They had run off substitute teachers before, reduced strict professionals to tears, and even forced one veteran teacher to transfer. To them, this wasn't school, it was a stage. And Ms. Carter, she was their next performance. The first week went by with whispers, mocking laughter, and cruel jokes thrown Ms. Carter's way. She ignored them at first, focusing on teaching. But deep inside, she knew the storm was coming. Bullies didn't stop when ignored, they escalated. That Friday it happened. The classroom was noisy, students laughing and throwing paper when Ms. Carter walked in. She set her books down, adjusted her glasses, and was about to start the lesson when Jake leaned back in his chair, smirking. "Hey, teach," he sneered. "You think you're in charge here?" The room went silent. Everyone knew this was the moment, the showdown between the new teacher and the school's worst bully. Ms. Carter didn't flinch. "I think we should begin with today's lesson." Her voice was calm, steady. But Jake wasn't done. He stood up, towering over her, and in one shocking move he grabbed a fistful of her hair. Gasps erupted across the classroom. With a cruel grin, he yanked her down until she stumbled, almost falling to her knees. "Crawl," he laughed, his friends joining in. "Show us who's really in charge." For a split second, silence hung in the air. Some students covered their mouths, horrified. Others chuckled nervously, waiting to see how far it would go. They expected Ms. Carter to cry, to scream, maybe even to run out. That was the script. That was how it always went. But this time, the script was about to be rewritten. Ms. Carter didn't scream. She didn't plead. Instead, she straightened slowly, her hand gripping Jake's wrist with surprising strength. Her eyes locked onto his with a fire no one had ever seen. In one swift motion, she twisted his arm behind his back, forcing him to release her hair. Jake gasped in pain, completely caught off guard. The entire class froze. "You will never," Ms. Carter said firmly, her voice cutting like steel, "lay a hand on me, or anyone else in this room again." Jake tried to pull free, but she held him firmly, not with brute strength but with precision. She had trained in self-defense for years, though no one had known. Her father, a military officer, had taught her never to be a victim. And in that moment, her training became her shield. Finally, she released him, and he stumbled backward, clutching his arm, red-faced and humiliated. His friends sat in stunned silence, unsure whether to defend him or stay seated. "Sit down," Ms. Carter commanded, and for the first time in years, Jake obeyed. The classroom was silent, the kind of silence that carried weight. Every student's eyes were glued to her. She adjusted her hair, straightened her blouse, and spoke with calm authority. "You all think strength comes from mocking, from hurting, from dragging others down. But strength is not cruelty. Strength is not control through fear. Real strength is respect for yourself, for others, and for the power of choice. Today, you've all seen what happens when cruelty is tested. And let me tell you, cruelty will always fail." Some students shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Others looked at her with awe. Jake sat stiffly, his pride shattered, unable to make eye contact. But Ms. Carter wasn't finished. She softened her tone. "I don't stand here to humiliate anyone. Even bullies have a choice. You can keep being feared or you can earn respect. One lasts a moment, the other lasts a lifetime. That day changed everything. Word spread across the school like wildfire. The new teacher had stood up to Jake, the untouchable bully, and won. Students who once mocked her now listened when she spoke. Even Jake, though bitter at first, began to change. Slowly, he stopped disrupting class. Eventually, he even started staying after school to ask questions, the first step toward leaving his old ways behind. For the rest of the semester, Ms. Carter's classroom became something rare, a place of respect. Not because she demanded it, but because she showed what it truly meant. And the students never forgot the day they watched a teacher dragged by her hair, only to rise stronger than anyone expected, turning cruelty into courage and fear into a lesson that would last forever. Because true strength isn't about how hard you can strike. It's about how powerfully you can rise when someone tries to drag you down.